The popular YouTuber Pyrocynical is being accused of grooming. Ivory tweets out, "Pyrocynical groomed me, and I have screenshots to prove it. I've been sitting thinking about this non-stop, being angry, confused, and sad that I've had to accept this since I was 15. But I never said anything because I felt powerless." What he sent ranged from drawn NSFW to fetishy YouTube videos, and he'd ask me to compile shit for him using tags that he liked on certain websites. At 15, I obviously did it, cause he's fucking Pyrocynical. I was just happy to be talking to him, and I was trying to continue that. I have Discord screenshots going back 4 years proving all of this, and I don't know if I should post them here, but I may. Either way, I'm done sitting here being quiet about it, when I know mad people went through the same shit, but are extremely traumatized and scared of talking about it. Sometime later, he then tweets out, "Here's the screenshots, y'all. The last one is cement proof that it's him." And I put his Discord ID in the text box below the messages. The DMs are from March 2017 and it starts out with Ivory saying, "Oh no, I didn't. If I did, I think I forgot, to be honest. I just saw it retweeted." Pyrocynical then sends an unflattering picture followed by his persona, and Ivory replies by saying, "Oh, that was who that artist was. And those stills look very nice, to be honest." Pyrocynical responds, "Thanks, N-word." He then sends another unflattering picture and says, "Also got this if I didn't send it already. Your Sona could just be gassed up non-stop." As he fucks mine, like, huh. "To be honest, I'd pick you up, hug you while rubbing you against my sweaty mood, then kiss your cheeks telling you how much I loved you, and then kiss you on the lips and let out a hard belch into your mouth." Ivory responds, and then Pyrocynical follows it up by saying, "It eat your cock up my ass. To be honest, I don't know fart so long and hard on your lap. You wouldn't be able to breathe. My ass and back would be dripping in sweat. Got the thick of my dragon, by the way." He then shows a non-safe for work picture of a fat dragon, but I will spare you the imagery. At least most of it. You are gonna have to look at its stomach and ass for a bit while I read out the next message from Ivory saying, "Oh, big boy." Pyro responds, "My gut would just crush you. I'd hear all the moaning and growling from the animals I've eaten beforehand, squirming around inside my massive belly." The next image is Pyrocynical sending a Discord message to a different person on January 15th, 2018, saying, "Just what Alex was saying to me today about Keem. It reminded me of all the RP stuff I used to do last year. There's like so many fucking people I did with, it's unreal. I don't even remember who and how many. It's that bad. If any of them suddenly don't like my content or for whatever reason, they can just out me and then everyone else will start coming forward. All it takes is one person and it's a chain reaction. I was contemplating deleting my Discord and making a new one, but I don't think that deletes all the messages, so it's still there. I never asked for nudes or anything like that. It was just furry shit. But yeah, it happened. And it's just a ticking time bomb. Every morning I wake up with anxiety and check my phone waiting for someone to message me saying, 'Yo, have you seen what Keem tweeted?' It's going to happen one day, and I feel fucking helpless. It's why I'm so quiet in calls and stuff. I'm just always fucking thinking about it all the time. It's taken up such a large part of my life. It's unreal. Unless I'm in the best mood possible, I'm always thinking about it. Please don't share this message or anything. I haven't and can't tell anyone except you." Oh, well, oops. We have some more messages between Pyrocynical and Ivory. It starts out with a very grotesque image that I'm going to cut off most of, and Ivory responding by saying, "Oh, the little sounds are nice, to be honest. To be honest, I've kind of been thinking about my Anthro Haunter getting swallowed and or crushed by a thick character, like your fox or something." Pyrocynical responds, "Lol. That sounds really nice, to be honest." Ivory responds, "I know, right? It's so nice." Pyro responds, "Something like this with their saunas." Ivory then sends a Twitter video to Pyro of him and follows it up by saying, "They punched their monitors so hard, hahaha." Pyro responds, "Bastard. I put that at the end of my new video, haha. Thanks for showing me, Ghost Boy." Ivory responds, "Hell yeah, anytime," and then puts that next to a screenshot showing that that was at the end of one of Pyro's videos made at the same time that the Discord message was shown, March 18th, 2017. Going back to current day, Ivory continues his Twitter thread by saying, "I didn't realize that deleted Discord IDs were messed up. If they are not taken from a member list on a group, the ID for his account is this, and it should come up with his username when searched." Cyberbomb's response to Ivory by saying, "To everyone saying this isn't believable, there's multiple accounts of Pyrocynical using minors to make weird fetishes fetish art on the internet already. Here's just one example that was posted back in 2019.
When I was in my freshman year of high school, I had a friend who was very, very good at art, and he would draw YouTubers all the time. And one time, Pyrocynical saw art that he did of him, so he DM'd him, telling him how good his art was. And we were all very excited about this. But then Pyrocynical started requesting more and more fat art of his character. And by fat, I mean extremely obese art of his character. And you know what? That's something that I hold near and dear to my heart.
Craze Putis responds to Ivory with this Twitter video.
In my eyes, it's not like, oh, I'm trying to get his fame. More than anything, it's like they just see somebody that they really like.
Okay, I'm sorry if it offended you. It's just an expression about dick sucking, but me and Lepervier stayed so fucking quiet all the time.
Yo, I heard there's a.
Can you move us to private?
What's
I
up?
don't want the sound complaint.
Stop.
I can't move people. Yes, what
Can't
the
move
fuck?
people.
But
Okay, what I said was, we stayed so fucking quiet. Me and Lepervier don't want to weird him out or some shit. I know he like talking. Oh, can you check my video? Oh my god! And he goes like, yeah, I'm gonna check it afterwards. Will he? No. Will he check your music? Maybe. I can't think.
he already did.
Okay, he did, and you're probably gonna become famous. And haven't you noticed? When he said good things about you, everyone started talking to you because they probably know you're gonna get big.
No. Like it wasn't. Wait, everybody's mad at me?
No. Just
No. Somebody said, "Why is everybody mad at you?"
Ivory responds to him by saying, "Why were you fucking recording an obviously private conversation, bruh? What are you doing?" Craze Putis responds, "I am constantly recording everything at all times just because of this. You are not special. Also, I felt wronged when you ditched us for them after the first meeting with Pyro. Even though I don't like Pyro, you shouldn't just play with his life. These accusations ruin them." Turkey Tom comments on all of this by saying, "Curious to see where these Pyrocynical allegations go. But as of for now, I'm not touching that shit, lol. Gonna let the cesspit of morons fight amongst themselves. And take a look at the aftermath when the time is right. I really have nothing to add other than that. The person who accused him also preemptively blocked me, so make of that what you will." Keemstar comes out and supports the allegations by posting them on his timeline and saying, "Keemstar is always right," obviously referencing the time Keemstar accused Pyro of inappropriate behavior back in 2016. He then references that in his next tweet saying, 2016 Keemstar. Pyro is a furry who has a relationship with an underage French girl. 2020. Pyro was proven to be a furry, and multiple inappropriate sex furry convos with minors gets exposed with leaked DMs. Keemstar is always right. Leafy responds to him by saying, "You said I had genital warts. Proven false. False news." Keemstar responds by saying, "Release the medical records." Leafy responds, "Someone else did. And I'd reckon you had something to do with that too." Keemstar replies, "The Keem works in mysterious ways." To which Leafy responds, "You drove two young rich kids into a complete state of paranoia. Dylan to this day still thinks you're out to get him." Keemstar responds, "As the only father figure either of you have in your life, I have strongly encouraged you to get off the hard drugs. The paranoia is turning you into an incel. And you'll never get pussy." Back on topic, BWC reacts to the Pyro stuff by saying, "People like I'm Alex ruined any chance of people to take allegations within the community seriously. They had a chance to verify the allegations, yet failed in doing so and vetted a false story. Distrust is rampant because there is no trust in verification." A lot of people had that similar sentiment, so Ivory responded to that by posting on his timeline, Y'all, I'm sorry if I'm acting stupid with this or anything. I want to get everything right and make sure it all makes sense, but I'm also freaking the fuck out at the same time, so please forgive me if I'm not communicating this properly. He then attempts to clarify a few things in his new twitlonger titled, Final Statement on Pyrocynical Allegation. The twitlonger starts off with him saying, before I say anything, here's proof for my screenshots and his user ID, along with messages from his current girlfriend, that prove this is all real. He then links an Imager link, which contains 2 videos, the first of which scrolling through the DMs with Pyro proving that they are real, and the second of which showing his DMs between Pyrocynical's girlfriend. I went to double check if this actually was his girlfriend by going to her Twitter profile, seeing that her Instagram is in there, clicking on that, and then seeing that the official verified Pyrocynical follows her, as well as there being pictures of her and Pyrocynical together. Anyways, the DMs between her and Ivory start out with her reaching out to him and saying, hey yo, sorry to pop in like this, but why do you tweet shit like that about Niall? Niall being Pyrocynical. Like, what do you gain from it? Can't you talk to him directly instead of trying to ruin his career? I remember when this happening personally, and it sounded to me like you had a crush on him, and asked if he would ever be with a guy, and he just said, I don't know. Fiction is different than IRL. I gotta understand why you feel the need to do this. Not cool. Ivory responds by saying, I know you're probably upset about it, but I know a lot of people who've had the same shit happen as me. I put it out there like that because I know if I can talk about it and bite that bullet, it'd be better for them. And honestly, I don't care about that group because that shit was allowed to happen, and it's disgusting to me in hindsight. No matter how horny I was, I have nothing to gain from speaking to him except for a half-assed apology. But posting the shit publicly will validate other people's experience and hopefully stop that shit from happening again. So honestly, I don't care. The girlfriend responds, like I remember you specifically sent fat art to him, and furry shit back and forth, saying it was being mutual. I remember it from calls and DMs. You don't call it grooming when you were the one flirting with him and seeing if he would bite? I don't understand, lol. Ivory responds, how wasn't it grooming when he sent me that shit first, and I played along? The girlfriend responds, if you feel the need to talk about it, why not go to Niall himself, and be like, hey, we can talk about it? Played along? You told me personally you liked it. Ivory responds, I don't know what I'd even say, and I don't get what would even be worth talking about. The girlfriend responds, then why is it worth trying to cancel him for a crush you had on him, and you were too shy to say no when you guys talked fetishes? I just feel that it's very unnecessary to post stuff like this when you know the guy. Like you were not 14 anymore. Ivory responds, I get that. I think it was worth it because it was not just me being sent this shit. It was a bunch of other people who I know I'm speaking for on this. She responds, okay, like who? I think people are twisting it saying it's grooming, when they had a starstruck moment with him, and didn't want to say no, I don't like that stuff, and then kept it going. Don't do this shit because you're being pressured by other people, man. Ivory responds by saying, Assault is the same age as me when Niall hit him up when he was 15, too. The girlfriend responds by saying, I have a hard time believing Niall slid into their DMs asking if they jerk off to that shit. And like I said, it's a snowball situation. Ivory responds, honestly, just why is a million sub YouTuber discussing fetishes with children? How does he not know what he's doing when he took the time to delete every message out of our DMs on his old account? Though he for some reason left the DMs from 2018, when I was 15. The girlfriend responds, besides, didn't Assault go around asking for feet pics? Ivory responds, like, it's really fucking obvious his intention. The girlfriend responds, yo, he was like, what, 18/19 when that happened? Age difference wasn't that bad. And I know you were talking about how you fucked in your mom's living room and such with both him and me. Like you were clearly mature enough to say, nah man, I'm not into that stuff. It really isn't obvious at all, Ivory. There's no ill intent in what happened, and you know that. Ivory responds, I genuinely don't though. The girlfriend responds, you talked to me about it though. How you were super excited every time you talked, lol. Ivory responds, but that doesn't justify it. To which the girlfriend responds, justify what? That you guys sent shit back and forth? Ivory responds, I shouldn't have been put in that situation as a child. Ivory responds, you are not innocent here either. You sent me stuff as well. Ivory responds, he shouldn't have been RPing with a fucking 15 or 16-year-old. The girlfriend responds, I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. You kept feeling feeding into as well. You also slept with older men at that time. I remember you told me that. You can be angry all you want, but don't say he's grooming you and acting like he ruined your life when you were feeding into it yourself. Ivory responds, okay? I sent you weird not safe for work shit as a child, cause it was tolerated. And I wanted to fucking kill myself every waking moment because I knew that I'd always be tainted by shit like that in my head. I'm not perfect. And I was literally jailbait because of how people abused the shit out of me, not knowing boundaries when I was younger. The girlfriend responds, that sucks, yeah. But you can't take that out on Niall. You've had bad experiences as a young teen, but it's not Niall alone. Why don't you talk to a therapist or something about what you've gone through, instead of turning to Twitter? Wow, that was a loaded conversation, and definitely lends credence to all of this being real, which, if it is, does not look good for Pyro. What? Sending fetish images to a kid. Alright, anyways, continuing with the imager from the Twitlonger, he shows server logs of Niall's old account with his Discord ID taken from his server, a bot message showing his user ID being the owner of his server, confirmation of his user ID, and once again showing the Discord message that Pyro sent to somebody else, mentioning that he's worried he'll be outed for this. Continuing on with the Twitlonger, Ivory says, I'd like to clarify that I'm not doing this for clout or public attention, and I couldn't care less about that. This is a message to people who know Niall, and know for a fact that this is true, but continue to stay silent. What matters to me is that there are multiple accounts of Pyrocynical abusing his power to be sexual with his fans, which include minors. It's not just me who's been affected. This is public knowledge in multiple communities, and has been tolerated and in turn enabled for far too long. Yesterday I tweeted that Pyrocynical groomed me, and I posted screenshots of it, along with an incorrect user ID and a video I sent him that he used in his video. I'm gonna use this Twitlonger to elaborate on what I posted and answer some questions I've been asked repeatedly in response to the allegations. Question: did he know your age? Answer: he did, but I don't have proof of that in message form. We talked often enough for him to know my full name. My ex-boyfriend denies drama, and he followed me on Twitter on both of his accounts, where I've always had my age listed in my bio. He absolutely knew my age, and I know I told him multiple times. Either way, his girlfriend confirmed they knew I was underage in the video I posted on the previously linked imager. Question: why didn't you go to the police? Answer: I'm in the US, he's in the UK, and I don't see what good the police could have done with Discord messages where he sent me not safe for work. Him being predatory is obvious in those messages, but they are not something I feel I could build a strong case for in court. Along with that, the cost of an international case is the last thing I want to face. Question: these screenshots could have easily been doctored, and you blanked your messages out. Answer: I definitely should have chosen a harder to fake method of screen capture instead of normal screen, which is why the imager is showing video of me scrolling on my phone. I censored out messages from me in the screenshots because they were NSFW, and I was ashamed. But I realized that caused confusion and a lack of context, so I left everything uncensored in the new imager. Question: why did you post inaccurate information when someone's career is on the line? A: I had that tweet in my draft for a few weeks, and I posted it on a whim during a breakdown. I hadn't prepared for the screenshots I needed because I honestly thought I wasn't going to go through with this until yesterday morning. And I thought to throw the user ID in the screenshot because my friend told me about it. What I didn't realize is that you had to copy the user ID from a member list if the account's deleted. Because of that lack of understanding, I posted an example ID, claiming that it was his. I apologize for any confusion on that, and I've corrected it. Question: why are you just now coming out about this? Answer: I honestly thought I wouldn't have been able to handle the backlash from posting allegations of this sort, and that they wouldn't go far enough if I did. While I do wish I would have come out earlier with this to some extent, I don't think I would have been able to talk about this properly or realize the full consequences of this when I was younger and less mature. Along with that, the whole idea of me coming forward with this would have been closure for me instead of closure for fellow victims. And I'm honestly glad I waited until I went with it from the latter perspective. If you've been in a situation like mine, please know that you are not alone, and that there are loads of people who are willing to support you. Nicholas Diorio reacts to the Twitlonger by saying, the refusal to even contact the authorities with a complaint of some kind makes me personally not take this seriously. Sure, an overseas lawsuit is financially out of the question, but calling/counseling with police would at least make it look like you are taking it seriously. The vast majority of online streamers/creators are not going to take a chance on potentially branding an innocent man as a groomer. There is a certain level of responsibility you should take with a large platform and what's provided in a final statement isn't concrete. Cypress responds to Nick by saying, "You mean literally verifying that DMs were from Pyrocynical's fucking account isn't enough proof for you? Or is girlfriend trying obvious manipulation tactics?" Nick responds by saying, "1, I don't think, from what I've seen, these prove he's a groomer. 2, the girlfriend and Pyro need to address that ridiculous comment she gave." Sam quote tweets Ivory and says, "Niall sent similar furry not safe for work to me. When I was 18 at the time, so no issue there. In probably early 2017, me, Ivory, and Niall were all in and out of the same friend group, and it does not shock me that the same content was sent to others. It was known to all of us that Ivory was 15. Tamasokchi responds to Ivory by saying, "I 100% believe this. Based on my own interactions with the dude, I am definitely not happy to say that I got those vibes from him. I wouldn't accuse something of anything without evidence, but this unfortunately sounds right on the money for his fan interaction." Ivory then tweets on his timeline mentioning that he did an interview with Tommy C clearing some stuff up. Here are some clips from that interview.
Now, the most serious allegation, and I think it's a bit over the top, is grooming. The problem with the grooming allegation is the idea behind grooming is to get you from kind of point A to point B. The predator has to prey on the prey. What was the goal? You have not accused Pyro up until this point of trying to get you a date, trying to get images of you or anything like that. The only thing that you've accused him of is having these extremely inappropriate conversations.
Like, personally, I have nothing saying, like, he invited me to anything. Like,
Okay.
I have no proof of that, so I'm not, like, making that allegation.
Well, forget the proof for a second. Did he invite you to anything?
It's like a meetup or something.
When he invited you, was there any kind of indication that there would be some kind of, date-like act with sexual interaction? Did he give you that idea at all?
If he was, I didn't pick up on it.
Did he ever ask you for nudes?
No.
No. Here's what I'm not understanding. How were you groomed? Because
into,
you don't
like,
need to be groomed for this to be wrong. Let me tell you something right now. If this conversation itself, assuming it took place, and it's looking like it did, is completely inappropriate for adult to have with a child. But the grooming thing, that brings it to a whole new level. I mean, now we're talking about people that are not just having a dirty conversation with an underage person, but plan to do something about it. I mean, is it really fair that you use the word grooming?
I was in a call with my friend when I, like, typed it out and asked, like, is that okay? I got a yes for that, so.
Yes. Because it reads more like a
that's the
YouTube like thumbnail. Do you honestly believe? And just be honest. Did you not understand the definition of the word completely?
I feel like it was like manipulating a child into a like sexual situation.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's what that word means to me.
Sure.
I'm like,
But do you think that he had plans for you down the road to prey on you in any other way?
I think the worst it was gonna go was him using me to contact artists about it. He was manipulating me and using my openness sexually as a kid for serving that purpose of, like, I want art, like, I want to see more of this and shit. Like,
okay. He dates a non-safe for work artist right now. And did you have contact with those types of people that could get him that kind of stuff?
I had, like, a bunch of artist friends.
So you think he was manipulating you to get more sort of fetish art?
Yeah, without consequences.
Okay. One of the most things that popped out of me is the first DM you posted that didn't scroll talked about the fear of waking up one day and thinking the Keemstar had found out. I didn't see that particular conversation with you on those scrolling DMs that you released.
That wasn't with me.
Okay. Because of my understanding that particular conversation was with you. Who was that message to, if you can reveal that?
I don't think I can.
Okay. Going back to the allegations about clout chasing, you are recorded singing a song. You're going to get a lot of attention. That does seem to be a little bit crass. It certainly doesn't say anything about your guilt or innocence to sing about gaining internet fame or e-fame not too long after this particular incident. Can you give me some context on the song and why you sang that and through a lot of people on Discord?
Like, I used to have a piano, like, right over here, and then I'd just play and sing, like, just funny songs.
Sure.
I'd poke fun at that sort of stuff. That was the entire reason those calls were recorded in the first place, you know what I mean? Because, like, it's such a scrutinized thing to do that sort of shit and approach, like, moving online with that mindset. Like, that's who I was around.
Okay.
And like, so that's what I was making.
Well, I play guitar. I know you play what comes to mind. And if you're joking around, you're going to be talking about, what's currently going on, and you're being accused of clout chasing, so you added to the song. I think that's a reasonable explanation. But
since this is very anti-Pyro so far, let me counteract this with a thread that got pretty popular on Twitter defending Pyrocynical. It comes from a random dude who says, "Pyrocynical is innocent, a thread. Photographic and video evidence included. We know Ivory tried to use Pyrocynical to get e-fame from these 2 videos one of his ex-friends posted. In one of them, his friends talk about how Ivory was sending videos to Pyro that he can help him get big. And in the other one, he sings about e-fame. Very suspicious." He then shows the video that Crass Putis sent in response to Ivory that we watched way earlier in this video. He continues by saying, "After the videos were posted, Ivory replied with this and then immediately blocked Crass, proving that indeed Ivory has something to hide. At this point, we know Crass is trustworthy, since he has provided us with a lot of evidence. I took to his DMs with him, and he told me that Ivory had lied about his age to Pyrocynical, and also to some of his own friends, showing a DM from Crass that said, Ivory was part of the really spicy ERP. Popular people on YouTube all know Pyro's fetishes, but people like StrikeSo didn't, and pressured Ivory to complain about them grooming him, while knowing that he himself lied about his age to them. There is nothing new about this, only that some people are trying to expose him. Note that the ERP was not only with Pyro, but other notable people. They are just not mentioned yet. You should ask that to people who spoke and speak to him. He told me and others at some point that he was over the age of 18. But I don't have video proof, that's for sure. If I recorded all my conversations like that, I would need a petabyte-sized drive." Random dude continues his thread by saying, "I would also like to point out how in November 25th, 2017, a while after the alleged ERP between the 2 of them, Ivory tweeted about wanting to meet Pyro. This doesn't line up with what Ivory said about them being scared of him." He then shows the tweet from 2017 which says, "Sending my German pen pal a letter demanding to see and talk to Pyrocynical." Random dude continues by saying, "So yeah, I think that is enough evidence to prove that he was in some way trying to benefit from Pyro. But even then, we don't even know if it's even the real Pyrocynical to begin with. We've seen cases of multiple people trying to pretend to be other YouTubers in the past. There's some possibility to the fact that it's not the real Pyro, since Pyro didn't use Pyrocynical for his Discord name, and instead used LOL, shown in this video with Colossal's Crazy and other YouTube. To clarify for people, this defense post was made before Ivory showed the screenshot showing that the LOL person is Pyrocynical, who is the deleted user who DM'd him. Ending off the chain, he says, "There are only 2 possible outcomes to this. 1, Ivory lied about his age to Pyrocynical to hook up with him and get e-fame. 2, the guy he talked to is not the real Pyro. Pyro is innocent in both of these. He did not groom a minor." Manit responds to random dude by saying, "Plus this," showing a tweet Ivory made on December 23rd, 2017 saying, "Alright, I'm gonna be the first to say the obvious and try not to beat a dead horse. But I hate Pyrocynical. He's one of the biggest leeches on YouTube. He's a hypocrite, he self-loathes, and he painfully panders to what everyone else is hating on. Weak 2 out of 10. Next." And now to finally end this long video off, Ivory retweets Daniel, who says, "Ivory gave me additional video of his conversations with Pyro. A large portion of them don't have messages from Pyro's side, as Pyro cleared most DMs with Ivory. Regardless, context of convos is still present. Vid is 3 minutes long, too long for Twitter, so I put it on G Drive. Here is that video." I'm not gonna read it out one by one because it's too much. You guys get the picture, and I've been talking for 52 minutes straight at this point, so just look at the video. It's scrolling DMs of Pyro allegedly sending erotic fat furry stuff to minors, and that is about it for the video. Honestly, I have no idea what to think about these allegations at this point. In some sense, this seems like a textbook example of a fake Twitter YouTube exposing for clout, but then you have those DMs with Pyro's girlfriend, where she essentially admits that all of this happened, and that the person in question was 14 when it did. And with how those DMs were presented scrolling on a phone on Twitter, it would be extremely hard to fake that. And on top of that, the conversation is so in-depth and particular that I think it would be hard to come up with those fake messages in the first place. Usually fake messages are something like Pyro saying thanks N-word and talking about his sweaty moves. That's why I initially thought it was fake, but then the DMs with the girlfriend came out and I honestly can't say if it's real or not. So in last week's video, Twitter versus Pyrocynical, I went over some very damning allegations of him grooming a minor. Recently, Pyro responded to those allegations on Reddit. So yes, technically this is Reddit versus, not Twitter versus, but in order to make sure people who watched the previous video watch this one, I need to keep the titles consistent, and I feel like with allegations of this magnitude, that's more important than titling it Reddit versus. Anyways, he starts off the post by saying, "Hey gamers, I would like to take this opportunity to address a false allegation recently made against me on Twitter. As some of you may have seen, it has been claimed back in 2016, when I was 19 years old, that I groomed an individual who was 15 years old at the time. I want to set the record straight with you all and share the truth. This allegation is 100% false and incredibly irresponsible. I am not denying that in the past, I took part in conversations with others that many of you will understandably consider to be weird and distasteful, probably an understatement. It was careless of me not to consider who was behind the roleplay/art sharing, and I take full accountability. But these exchanges never amounted to anything other than fantasy roleplay. I have never sent or solicited nude or IRL content. I have never tried to engineer an illicit encounter or lure anybody into anything. I have never built a dialogue, connection, or relationship with the intention of manipulating or exploiting anyone. This was even confirmed by Ivory himself in an interview."
Did he ever ask you for nudes? No.
He never at any point stated that he felt uncomfortable, and if he did, I never would have continued to message and respond to him. Every exchange between Ivory and I was fully consensual and reciprocal. He never once disclosed the fact that he was 15 at the time these exchanges commenced. He didn't include his age in his bio until he was 16, but I was not on Twitter between 28th December 2016 until 29th June 2017, as I was suspended. Moreover, individuals have since come forward contending that Ivory would be disingenuous about his age to proactively gain entry to other fantasy roleplay groups. He then posts an imager link that shows a tweet from a Twitter thread made by a random dude. We read this in the previous video. The next tweet shown is from Reddit Moments, who says, "I was around back then and he would always claim to be 18 years of age. You can't reverse your age years later and then claim that an unsuspecting Pyrocynical is all of a sudden predatory just because he lied back." Continuing with the Reddit post, Pyrocynical says, "I am very confused by Ivory's inconsistency. There is evidence to suggest that he engaged in fantasy roleplay with another individual similar in age to me. This individual was also not aware of Ivory's age at the time. But in this particular example, it was Ivory who very much initiated and directed the roleplay." He then posts an imager link that contains Discord DMs. They are from December 12th, 2017 and start out with Ivory saying, "Hee hee, oh yeah, do you remember when we'd nut and call? Hee hee, goodness, those were the days." They respond, "Yeah, though took me a lot of times to say no at first, haha." Ivory responds, haha, "though you seem to enjoy it." They respond, "Well, I mean, who doesn't enjoy nut?" To which Ivory responds, True. Honestly, I thought of y'all when we do that, ubu." They respond, "Well, I thought of my bunny too, haha. Your haunter was there too, strapped in them tentacles." The next image shows DMs from current day, where the redacted person posts those DMs we just showed. Pyro responds to him by saying, "What do you mean when you said, took me a lot of times to say no at first? Was he pressuring initially?" They respond, "Yeah." We have some more DMs between Ivory and the mystery person. These ones are from May 21st, 2017 and starts out with Ivory saying, "Yus, what do you think you're gonna do down there?" They respond, "Nothing, just on a quest to buy a bottle of water. Town is very far away, like 2 hours of walking, but I am gonna hop there fast." Ivory responds, "Oop. Cute bunny. Are you gonna get one of those big old water bottles you get yesterday, ubu?" They respond, "Nah, I got them here still. I am just gonna give my journey a purpose. My little journey." Ivory responds, "The little bunny's adventure, hehe. Say, would you maybe want to RP for a little bit before you go, ubu?" They respond, "Maybe," to which Ivory responds, "Oop." They respond, "Though I'm watching this show a little bit now." Ivory responds, "Yus. After that, if you want to, uwu. Sorry if I'm bothering you at all with that." Continuing with the Reddit post, Pyrocynical says, "After Ivory alleged I groomed him, this individual then reached out to him to apologize for any hurt he may have inadvertently caused him." To which Ivory responded, "No, you're fine. I don't care." He then shows another Discord DM conversation from October 29th, 2020, after the allegation was publicly made by Ivory. Ivory, and it starts out with the person saying, "Hey, we had the whole talk about what we did years ago. For me, it was nothing more than furry role-playing with a total stranger, but for you, I didn't know it could affect you this much. I thought you moved on after we had our talk again last year, so I'm sorry to know it affected you this way. Do you want to talk about it?" Ivory responds, "No, you're fine, I don't care," to which they respond, "I know I am, but you don't seem to be. If you were really hurt by what happened, I'm here for you, man." Continuing on with the Reddit post, Pyrocynical says, "Why does he not care in this instance? Why does he remain unaffected by a similar interaction with others, yet feel the need to single me out and character assassinate only me on social media? Furthermore, if he is as angry, confused, and sad as he claims to be, why has he been in friendly contact with me right up until September of this year?" He then shows more Discord DMs between him and Ivory. The first set of messages are from April 25th, 2020, and starts out with Ivory sending a picture of a furry, to which Pyro responds by saying, he cute. Ivory responds, "Yee yee." The last one was a concept thingy my friend drew based off that Kintsugi idea, but he's a V good boy, though I don't know what to name him, HH. Pyro responds, "Why not Kintsugi?" Ivory responds, "Honestly, that should be his name." Pyro responds, "Poggers!" To which Ivory says, "Yee hee hee hee." Pyro then says, "Fart inflation time," to which Ivory responds, "Hell yeah." SO to this though, showing an obese bird sitting on top of another bird, and comments on it by saying, "No choice but to stand." The next set of DMs are from June 14th, 2020, and starts out with Ivory sending a club penguin emoji and saying, "Have you seen my new sauna?" To which Pyro responds, "The one in your pic, right? I think so, but send them again, boss." Ivory then responds, "I got another one too, yee hee hee hee," showing an unfinished picture of a bird. Pyro responds by saying, "Oh, dude, that's slick. God motherfucking damn!" And then he sends this video.
My favorite number is 7. 7-Eleven, bitch. Goddamn, let me go up in this bitch. See what the fuck going on. What in the fuck is this motherfucking bag? Oh my God. Motherfucking Newports. Newports. I'ma be the richest hood. Give me this goddamn motherfucking bag. I'm hauling ass, bitch. I'm hauling ass.
Pyro continues the Reddit post by saying, "During the interview mentioned earlier, he was confronted with evidence that he sent kink art to someone else. He initially claims it was him, but then backtracks, claiming he has no recollection."
So, what's the deal with this?
That is shit I sent. And
You did send that to
I don't
him?
know. I honestly have no recollection of it, and I don't even specifically know who Reddit Moments is.
So you're
Like,
saying
I
you
can
have
tell
no
it-
idea who this person is? Let's see how new their account
Like,
is.
no.
April 2017. Their account. So
Like,
you're
no.
not saying you know who they are. Okay, and this looks
I'm
very
saying,
similar.
Like, I don't.
This looks
I don't
very similar.
remember, I probably know.
Yeah, you're not saying you don't know them, but off the top of your head, let's be clear.
Yeah, off the top of my head.
So
I don't
is he
remember, but I know
mistaken?
that, like,
Was he mistaken? Or are you telling people you're 18? Back in 2017.
yeah, he was. Oh, I was not saying I was 18. I've never lied about my age never lied about my age because that's a death sentence to do with my music. You know what I mean?
No, I wouldn't know what you meant. Like, I don't know how that would affect you musically.
I don't know how to explain.
Okay.
I am not here to personally attack anyone. I just want to clear my name. Being falsely accused has been extremely stressful, and it was such a serious issue. I feel it has to now be addressed. All this being said, I would kindly ask my fans to not call out Ivory, nor direct any negativity his way. I don't want to play any part in fueling or perpetuating hate. I just want to share the truth, close this chapter, move forward, and return to doing what I love, making unfunny videos. And that's about it for the post. I think he did a pretty decent job clearing his name, although I do think it's still weird that he has this furry fat fetish, but being weird doesn't mean it's wrong. So make of that what you will. In my first video on this topic, I showed the grooming allegations made against Niall, aka Pyrocynical. In the second video, we took a look at Niall's response. And now we have a response from the original accuser, Ivory. He tweets out, "All I'm saying to Niall's response is that the I don't care DM was taken out of context, and I said I needed space afterwards. I didn't want to hear from this person, so I said whatever I could to get him out of my DMs. Also, the person who said I lied about my age apologized to me in DMs. He then shows two screenshots. The first images of Discord DMs that Pyrocynical showed in his response, but this one has the added context of an extra DM from Ivory telling the person, "I just need space right now, I think." The next images of Twitter DMs between Ivory and Reddit Moments, the person who said that Ivory was lying about his age, and was cited in the response that Pyrocynical made. The DMs between them were made on November 1st, 2020, and it starts out with the Reddit Moment saying, "Just to clear this, I have to admit fault on my part. I spoke to a few people before about it, and it seems we've all had a Mandela effect. I skimmed through the interview, and I think the I'm Alex Twitter video back in the day was what caused this. To me, pedo was not a 16-year-old, and it was stuck with me since, I guess. So I apologize for that one. Let me know if you want the tweets deleted, or to stay up as an archive." Ivory responds, "I understand how you could have gotten confused, and I accept your apology. I owe you one for sending you that shit in the first place." Ivory continues his Twitter thread by saying, "Here's proof that debunks his claim that he didn't know my age," along with other things in the post. He then links to an older Twitter post he made on November 6th, 2020 that says, "Here's some more evidence I posted that a lot of people have missed." He then links to a couple tweets that I already showed in my first video, and a Twitter thread breaking down a video Ivory made of him scrolling through DMs with Pyrocynical. The thread is made by Daniel, and it starts out by saying, "Ivory gave me additional video of his conversations with Pyro. A large portion of them don't have messages from Pyro's side, as Pyro cleared most DMs with Ivory. Regardless, context of convos is still present. Video is 3 minutes long, too long for Twitter, so I put it on G Drive." Now this video, which is 3 minutes, scrolls through DMs so fast, having way too many messages in it. For me to read all of them, if I did, this video would be over 2 hours long. But luckily, as Ivory said, Daniel does have a breakdown of these DMs, and he made it in the form of a couple Twitter videos. The first one says, "A summary of the contents of the video."
Okay, so this is a quick summary of the video Ivory sent me. The full video will be in the Google Drive linked above. So it starts off in a private group chat DM, slides over. This is Ivory's account, this is Pyro's account, this is a different member of the group chat. I'm not sure who this one is. He taps on the username, it slides the card up, displaying the deleted user 49D188C59982. Taps on message. The messages load. A lot of Pyro's messages aren't here because he wiped them. It was about a year and a half's worth of messages. Regardless, you can see the context of the messages in the chat. So he spends about a minute scrolling through. And then it's around about here that, yep. So Pyro's messages start appearing here, there we go. So you can see deleted user appears around mid 2017. So he continues to scroll through. All the way up back to the very beginning in November 2016. You can see up here, there's the beginning of the DM conversation. He scrolls through more, he taps on the name. This slides over, taps on the name up there, the card swipes up, taps on the name there, card swipes up, shows more of the card, showing more of Discord's UI, showing his own user card, moving that around, scrolling through the DMs again, swiping to the left to show his, Discord recent messages, swipes out, swipes back in, swipes back over. Yeah.
The next part is captioned, "Proving that this account was owned by Pyrocynical."
So first things first is proving that this is Pyro's Discord account. Now at the beginning of the user, when you tap the username, it swipes up with deleted user 49D1E8C5, discriminator 9982. Now, this has been confirmed by multiple people in the replies to Ivory's tweet as being Pyro's actual deleted Discord account. So you can see that's the exact same Discord ID as the one with my from my DMs with Pyro. Mobile screenshot, deleted user 49D1E8C5. Going to this one, this is a desktop screenshot, deleted user 49D1E8C5. This is from someone who was in a private server with a lot of people from the group, including Pyro. Regardless of both of those, going over here, this is a screenshot from the Pyrocynical Discord server. This is a bot log. So you can see server name Pyrocynical, server created 2017-0215, total users 7,000 or so. You can see right here, server owner LOL, that's Pyro's old Discord account username. 9982, that's the same discriminator that matches over here. That doesn't change when a account is deleted. And owner ID 10835433433. When that full ID is put into a website that can resolve a Discord account from the ID, it displays deleted user 49D1E8C59982, which is the exact same one right here. Now you may ask why later in the video it shows here just deleted user, but then it says deleted user 49D etc. up here. That's simply because that's how Discord works with deleted accounts. It shows the deleted account name and the deleted account alphanumeric ID when looking at the user card and at the top here, but in the actual DMs itself, it just says deleted user. However, this goes further to prove that these are legitimate, as this cannot be recreated manually, and no two deleted user accounts have the same alphanumeric ID in the username.
The third part is captioned, his age at the time of the sexual DMs, and how Pyro knew his age when they happened.
Now I'll be going through Ivory's age at the time of the sexual DMs and how Pyro knew this age. So back in April 2017, these are when the DMs with Pyro start, because Pyro removed all of his DMs after that time. You can see, I mean, you already know the contents of the DMs. I'll just like quickly scroll through here. I don't really want to read it out, but it's like, it's the sexual roleplay, and then it's the not safe for work art. At this time, Ivory was 15 and Pyro was 19. And they followed each other on Twitter. So you can see Ivory frequently tweeted about his age around this time. So look, you can see, you know, I'm 15. You get the idea. So to prove that they followed each other, I miss being Pyro on Twitter. This is a tweet from March 2017. This is a cached Google image search result. From Pyrocynical's Twitter. So LOL on Twitter, that was Pyro's Twitter display name, Ivory446633. That was Ivory's old Twitter username. And here's the screenshot that Pyro tweeted. So you can see Ivory Rasmus at the very top of the home tab. That means that Pyro followed Ivory at that time. Going over here, you can see Pyro frequently replied to some of Ivory's tweets. Here's two examples. So here's one here, Ivory's tweet, reply from a suspended account, and then replying to Pyrocynical from Ivory. Same here. You can see the exact same thing. Ivory didn't have his age in his bio at this time. However, later in the year, when he turned 16 and Pyro was 20, they still did the sexual roleplay and the NSFW art. And his proof that his age was in his bio, you can see 16-year-old singer. And, you know, Pyrocynical Vivo following Ivory. And here's tweets about him being 16 as well, just for good measure.
The fourth part is captioned, going through the elements of the Discord UI that help to prove that this video isn't edited.
Alright, so now I'll be just going through some of the elements of the Discord UI that help prove that this video is legitimate and it's not edited, cut in any way whatsoever. So you can see he slides, there's no cuts there, he slides it, that slides up perfectly, he taps on that, and then it slides just as the Discord UI would. He scrolls through, there's the loading thing every time he reaches the top of the specific set of DMs, so you can see the little loading circle. So this continues on for a while. Still continues on. Here's where his username appears, where it's different here, deleted user 490, etc. to here, just deleted user. That's because that's how Discord deleted users work, is in the actual DM thread, it just shows deleted user. However, in the card and in the title of the DMs, it shows the full alphanumeric ID as well as deleted user. That cannot be replicated manually, so that further proves that these are legitimate. So you can see, you know, continues to go through. He's still going through. And then he starts playing with the UI more, so he taps it up there. That slides over, taps up there, that slides up, taps there, that slides up. He moves that up and around. He taps the, you know, mutual servers, moves that around. He taps his own username, swipes that around, as would work in the Discord UI for mobile.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I agree. Swipes through it more. He exits the app. He swipes through his friends, his DMs. He exits the app and he reopens it.
And then the last part is captioned, comparing Dafumi-Fi/Ida's recent DMs with Ivory to messages Ivory had about Ida in 2017.
Here's another thing worth noting. So, as shown in the evidence IMGA, Pyro's current girlfriend, Dafumi-Fi, also known as Ida or Isa, DM'd Ivory, effectively blaming him for what happened. In particular, she says, where is it? So, I remember you specifically sent fat art to him, blah, blah, blah. I remember it from calls and DMs. Played along, you personally told me you liked it. That specifically, that pretty well matches up with what Ivory said over here. I asked Isa. Isa is Ida or Dafumi-Fi. Isa is just an old nickname that she went by. You can see here and here. About commissioning the NSFW fetish art, that's mentioned up here. Eating, puffing out gas, need a commission art of that. I asked them, and they never got back to me about it. But that kind of shows that Ivory spoke to this person about commissioning art like that, and then this person has said that Ivory told them that he liked it.
His last tweet in the thread reads out, a notable screenshot of the video, showing that Pyro knew Ivory's age. This was when Ivory was 16 and Pyro was 20. This had been, and continued to do, the sexual fetish roleplay and sharing NSFW fetish art. He then shows a screenshot that shows within the Discord DMs that Ivory sent a link to his Twitter profile to Pyrocynical, and when he sent it, the bio read, 16-year-old singer and producer boy named Ivory. Anyways, going all the way back to current day, Ivory has a couple more comments in regards to the Pyrocynical situation. The tweets start out with him saying, this situation is a perfect representation of why victims don't come out about their experiences. I have ample proof, and all of my friends who knew Pyro know what happened. I don't need to prove this shit to random strangers. But my hope with talking about this on a public platform was that I could progress the conversation around weeding out exploitation of minors, because this is a thing that runs rampant in all online communities, and it has the potential to ruin people's lives before they even start. On top of that, it's only a matter of alerting potential victims to past predatory behavior. I'm confirmed correct when saying that Pyro sent NSFW to a child, and you'd be blind to disregard his majority child fanbase being extremely easy prey for him, if he decided to repeat that. This shit goes so much deeper than me clout chasing, and I struggle to see how people can't grasp this. The environment that has been made and upheld is more inclined to defend predators than the children that they prey on, and that choice of who to protect is strictly enforced. Examples that come to mind are me being apologized to for being RP'd with by an adult, and then having my reply taken out of context and used against me in Niall's response. Me being gaslit by Niall's girlfriend, and her mentioning incriminating shit to get me to back down on speaking out. He then shows a screenshot of Pyrocynical's response, referencing the DM that Ivory made to somebody else saying, no, you're fine, I don't care. And then messages from Pyro's girlfriend telling Ivory that he's not innocent in this situation. Ivory continues his tweet thread by saying, all of the people from those circles telling me I could deal with it privately, which would have made it insanely easy to sweep under the rug, along with people telling me I was egging it on, when the entire point is that no matter how I was responding, Niall was talking to a child. It's all part of a social dynamic that allows influential people in online communities to prey on their friend groups and or audience with as little consequence as possible, and it's enforced via people doing the same starstruck clout chasing shit I'm being accused of doing. Now that's about it for what Ivory had to say, but we do have some Twitter reactions to Pyrocynical's response from YouTubers. Turkey Tom tweets out, "Can't think of a better way to start off addressing allegations of grooming than hey gamers." But in all seriousness, lots of the people that are claiming Pyro's statement debunked what his accuser had to say are either being willingly ignorant or incredibly stupid. Is Pyro a groomer or a pedophile? I'd say definitely not, and Ivory never provided sufficient evidence for that. However, people saying it was definitive that Ivory lied about their age and Pyro exposed them, acting extremely low IQ. The same people who claim that we should all wait and see what the response is and not jump to conclusions without evidence are claiming that everything Ivory did was clout chasing, lying, etc. All while he has provided much more evidence than Pyro has for his claims. Pyro's only proof, as many have claimed, for Ivory lying is a few people here and there on Twitter saying that they lied. This is hardly sufficient evidence, and the fact that Pyro's own girlfriend seemed to admit in Ivory's DMs that Pyro knew his age is very odd. The unfortunate result of the Sizo controversy from a year ago is that instead of taking everything with a grain of salt and evaluating all evidence on both sides to draw a conclusion, now people completely discredit the accuser and fail to do any research on the other side. Tommy C reacts to all of this by saying, "Now that we know that Ivory had contact with Pyro for sure, if Ivory lied about his age, why did the DMs he released from deleted user, who is almost certainly Pyro at this point, he clearly states he was a minor here?" Both Inverse Daniel and myself confirmed this pic below, showing a screenshot from the 3-minute scrolling DM video where Ivory says to Pyro that he's a minor. Edwin Generation's response to Tommy by saying, "I don't like that Pyro tried to prove inconsistency from Ivory when he showed a screenshot of another older person apologizing to Ivory, and Ivory is shown saying, 'I don't care.' Why crop out the part where Ivory also said he wanted space? And why not apologize?" He then links the tweet that Ivory made regarding that incident that I read earlier in the video. MPP responds to Edwin by saying, "Thoughts on the undisputed assertion that this individual had at least one conversation regarding what occurred with Ivory a year ago, and the matter was considered complete? What is the rationale behind blacking out this person's name, as opposed to calling him/her out too?" Edwin responds by saying, "Well, for one, the individual reached out to Ivory to apologize, something Pyro never cared to do. I assume there is also no major power dynamic, which was the major point behind Ivory coming out about Pyro. Perhaps Ivory didn't feel taken advantage of in the same ways." So a couple days ago, the YouTuber Turkey Tom released a video talking about the Pyrocynical grooming allegations that were brought to light by Ivory Rasmus. In this video, he shows how Pyrocynical lied in his Reddit response, and as a result, it's reignited conversation around these couple-month-old allegations. Because of this, Ivory actually got in contact with Turkey Tom and ended up sharing more proof with him, which brought a couple new things to light and prompted Turkey Tom to make this Google document. It's titled, "Proving Pyrocynical's Guilt, Debunking Every Argument," written by Turkey Tom. Prologue. Recently, some allegations were made public via Twitter by Ivory Rasmus, someone who claims to have known Pyrocynical years ago, at which point Pyro engaged in a number of sexual conversations with minors, while being aged 19 and 20. I've already done a video about this on my channel, and you can expect another video soon. In this document, I'm going to clearly outline why everything that Ivory Rasmus said in his post about Pyro is true, save for one caveat, and debunk every common counter-argument that I have seen for the validity of the messages, as well as the validity of Ivory's claims. But first, how about some new information? New leaks. On December 3rd, Ivory messaged me on Twitter to give me some more information. He alleged that he had found some old Discord messages with Pyrocynical's current girlfriend, Ida, who originally messaged Ivory to victim blame him and say that what happened wasn't that bad. He then shows a DM that Pyro's girlfriend sent to Ivory. She says, "Yo, he was like, what, 18/19 when that happened? Age difference wasn't that bad. And I know you were talking how you fucked in your mom's living room and such with both him and me. Like, you were clearly mature enough to say, nah man, I'm not into that stuff. It really isn't obvious at all, Ivory. There's no ill intent in what happened, and you know that." Turkey Tom continues in the document by saying, "To prove that the messages were real, Ivory even clicked on Ida's account at the end of the video. Ivory sent sent me some very incriminating messages between him and Ida, where she clearly acknowledges his age. He then shows those DMs. They are from April 6, 2017, and starts out with Pyro's girlfriend saying, "I don't know, man," to which Ivory responds, like, "I just worry that he'll regret feeling that way because of my age. Because it'll be the 15-year-old French girl scenario, but with a 15-year-old American boy." Ida responds, "This is just me thinking from how I know Niall, but I don't know if he'd actually be in a bi relationship. I think he's more open to like mostly porn and sex, you know?" Yeah, you right. Turkey Tom continues the document by saying, "We'll go back to these messages soon," which I'll leave a link to here if you want to scroll through them at all. But the natural response to this would be that the messages are fake, or that they are not from Ida, so let's prove that they are from her. Firstly, I'll post the Discord ID for the sake of transparency, as well as scroll through most of the relevant DMs. He then shows that video of the scrolling DMs. Continuing with the document, he says, "And just to be able to clearly see that the same Discord ideas have already been seen before, you can see the same group chat which included Pyro, and who Ivory alleged to me was Ida." He then shows a screenshot of the deleted user, sending Ivory a picture of Pyro and his girlfriend together. Turkey Tom comments on this by saying, "Here's one point in the messages when Ivory sent an image from the deleted user of her and Pyrocynical in a hotel room together. Doing a reverse image search for this will get you no results. This clearly shows that this image is unique at the very least. And just to further add to the pile of proof, here's a post she made on her Instagram just one day prior where she is in the same mirror in the same room. And pictured below we have another DM of a video of them at a restaurant."
Do the Korean heart.
Now that I've demonstrated the veracity of these DMs, let's take a look at what they mean in tandem with Pyrocynical's greatest argument. Ivory lied about his age. Many have been under the impression that Ivory lied about his age, and that is why Pyrocynical decided to talk to him. After all, if he was under the impression that Ivory was older, then how could he be at fault? The most common misconception about this comes from Pyrocynical himself. He then links to Pyrocynical's statement and quotes him saying, "He never once disclosed the fact that he was 15 at the time these exchanges commenced." Turkey Tom continues by saying, "There are multiple things that discount this claim from Pyrocynical, both from the DMs between Ivory and Pyrocynical, and in the DMs between Ivory and Pyrocynical's girlfriend Ida." He then shows DMs between Ivory and Pyrocynical, where on the 18th of September in 2017, Ivory does disclose to Pyro that he is indeed a minor. Turkey Tom continues by saying, "Here we see Ivory not only say that he is a minor, but also a message of him clearly sending his Twitter bio with his age in it to Pyrocynical, at which point he would have been 16 years old, and Pyrocynical would be 20. In the newer leaked messages between Ivory and Ida, we see her acknowledge the fact that he is 15 years old, showing that he wasn't lying to her about his age. Not only this, but the DMs seem to be alluding to Pyro and Ivory forming some kind of relationship at the time. He then shows more DMs between Ivory and Pyro's girlfriend. It starts out with Ivory saying, "It's like him and I," and him asking about real life stuff. Ida responds, "Yeah, of fucking course he would. He's your friend, right? He's a really sweet boy and cares about people." Ivory responds, "But like, it isn't friend stuff." Ida responds, "Give me an example," to which Ivory responds, "It's like him asking really sexual stuff. I bet your cock is so hard from imagining that." Ida responds, "Ha ha ha ha, I'm sorry." Ivory responds, "Yeah, I'm fine with it." Turkey Tom continues by saying, "Ivory says that Pyro is talking about more real life stuff. But okay, how bad could it be? We don't know the full intent of these messages, right? Well, it gets worse." He then once again shows the message from Pyrocynical's girlfriend, where she says he's more open to like mostly porn and sex. Ivory responds by saying, "Yeah, probably. I just don't want him to be like fuck, what have I gotten into? She responds, no, I think it's fine. Ivory responds, hopefully. Turkey Tom continues by saying, here, Ida clearly says that she doesn't think it is unrealistic for Pyro at age 19 to be in a relationship with Ivory at age 15. They both clearly acknowledged Ivory's age just minutes ago in these messages. So, for Pyro to not know Ivory's age, 5 conditions need to be met. 1. Pyrocynical never saw the initial DM from Ivory saying he was a minor. 2. Pyrocynical never saw the DM where Ivory sent him his Twitter profile, clearly stating his age. 3. Pyrocynical, who at the time was expressing interest in Ivory and being in a relationship with him at the time, which was corroborated by Pyrocynical's at the time soon-to-be girlfriend, still never knew Ivory's age. An age which Ida clearly acknowledged, and an age which she thought would dissuade him from being in a relationship with Ivory. 4. Pyrocynical never saw any of the tweets of Ivory explicitly saying that he was 15 years old, on an account Pyrocynical followed and interacted with regularly. 5. Somehow Ivory never mentioned his age, and no one else mentioned his age in the presence of Pyrocynical outside of all of these clear instances, even once. A little ridiculous, right? I rest my case. Now let's go over a few of the main arguments from Pyro's Reddit post. He then quotes the part where Pyro says, moreover, individuals have since come forward contending that Ivory would be disingenuous about his age, to proactively gain entry to other fantasy roleplay groups. This Twitter thread created by HTML Random Dude, now suspended, was one of the biggest sources of misinformation for Ivory Rasmus, as it garnered a lot of support on Twitter at the time. Pyrocynical cited it as evidence that Ivory was inconsistent about his age, even though there is literally no direct evidence of this. We do not have one solid screenshot of Ivory saying he was anything other than the age he has consistently maintained he is. This is a theory at best, and one supported by nothing but the testimony of one person. Take a look at the rest of Pyrocynical's rebuttal. One quick look at Ivory's Twitter from the time will reveal that he was very open about his age publicly on Twitter. He then quotes a tweet from Ivory where he says, I'm a 15-year-old shut-in who checks his phone a lot, but I hate how little kids bring a desk's worth of tech everywhere if possible. Turkey Tom continues by saying, and to further add to this pile, 2 of the sources that Pyrocynical cited as evidence that Ivory had lied about their age retracted their statements entirely shortly after. The messages are fake. One of the most common arguments people will give is that the messages that Ivory posted onto Twitter are completely fabricated. This is largely due to a lack of easy to follow information. Many believe that due to the presence of a deleted user, that the messages were impossible to prove to be from Pyrocynical. Let's go over why the messages are clearly real. Right from the bat, Pyrocynical admitted the reality of the DMs in his initial Reddit response. He then quotes Pyrocynical saying, I am not denying that in the past, I took part in conversations with others that many of you will understandably consider to be weird and distasteful, probably an understatement. Turkey Tom continues by saying, if this isn't enough for you to still believe that the messages are real, @LumiCX on Twitter created a great thread walking through all the important aspects of the video, even analyzing the Discord UI to show that the messages are real. I'll leave one of the more important videos here. Ivory is a clout chaser. One assertion that many people have made, especially YouTubers, is that Ivory is supposedly a clout chaser.
And if you're just doing it for clout, maybe you shouldn't put it out there.
This mostly comes from 2 sources. One is a tweet from Ivory where he made some disparaging remarks about Pyrocynical. He then shows that tweet. It's from 2017 and he says, alright, I'm going to be the first to say the obvious and not try to beat a dead horse, but I hate Pyrocynical. He's one of the biggest leeches on YouTube. He's a hypocrite, he self-loathes, and he painfully panders to what everyone else is hating on. Weak 2 out of 10. Next. Turkey Tom continues by saying, given the fact that the 2 regularly interacted on Twitter at the time, and the actual writing here, you may suspect this is a joke. And you'd be right, seeing as this tweet was cross-posted from Reddit. Not only this, but you can see multiple other instances of people on Twitter making the same tweet around the same time. So this is clearly a joke, but what about the other instance of this? This video was largely circulated on Twitter, claiming it to be evidence that Ivory is merely a clout chaser. He then shows that video.
E-fame. E-fame. Is the only thing I want.
Turkey Tom continues the document by saying, the song is obviously done in jest, and anyone should be able to see that, but most people are under the impression that this is a recent video. However, if you simply look at the clip, the bottom right hand corner clearly shows that the recording is from 2016. Another argument Pyrocynical made lies in the idea that Ivory messages other people of a similar age around the same time. He quotes Pyrocynical saying, after Ivory alleged I groomed him, this individual then reached out to him to apologize for any hurt he may have inadvertently caused him, to which Ivory responded, "No, you're fine, I don't care." Why does he not care in this instance? Why does he remain unaffected by a similar interaction with others, yet feel the need to single me out and character assassinate only me on social media? Turkey Tom continues by saying, "This may be a little harder to nail down. Why wouldn't Ivory be upset at this guy if he was so angry at Pyrocynical? This becomes obvious when you read Ivory's original Twitlongers, where he says the biggest reason for him putting all of this information out there is because Pyro has influence, and he'd be right. Pyro has more than 4 million subscribers, and is easily one of the most respected people in the commentary community. It is no surprise that people are so unwilling to believe these allegations. Most people don't even seem to watch videos about it before passing judgment. After YouTuber Bowblax put out a video including evidence that mostly supported Ivory, his comments were flooded with people claiming that he made it all up. And then he shows a screenshot of my comment section. I guess it's time to call out some of you guys. We have people like Pikmin64, Gurirath, Some Waste Paste Gaming, Mason Russell, Mr. Toast, Zenith HP, and FreeZero, all supporting Pyrocynical. Turkey Tom continues the document by saying, "As I have shown in this document, this is hardly the case. At this point, you would be willingly ignorant or actually developmentally disabled to believe that Pyrocynical is innocent. And even if that is not enough to prove to you that Ivory is not a clout chaser, let's say that his intention is some notoriety from this. Not noble in any way, sure, but does that really matter? If the allegations against Pyro are true, and Pyro did know his age, and lied about it after the fact, do his intentions somehow completely ruin the reality of the allegations? Are you so hung up on this idea that you will not put forth the effort to condemn someone who did something demonstrably more harmful? I don't know about you, but I have much more hatred for someone exhibiting predatory behavior than I do for someone who wants Twitter likes. I'll let you make that choice yourself." Verdict. Is Pyrocynical a groomer? While I first stated no, after these new leaks, I don't feel comfortable saying no. That being said, Ivory's basic message can be legitimately proven to be true. When he was 19 years old, Pyrocynical messaged a 15-year-old sexually. But as Pyrocynical's own girlfriend states, not to be a party pooper, but he does that to everyone, and for the idea that they were just messaging about fetishy shit, Pyro clearly references the hypothetical of having sex with Ivory directly in the messages. He then shows the message where Pyro says, "It eat your cock up with my ass. To be honest, I don't know fart so long and hard on your lap. You wouldn't be able to breathe. My ass and back would be dripping in sweat." Turkey Tom then continues by saying, "Red Kiwis is a popular gaming YouTuber who was outed in 2016 for having knowingly messaged a girl he thought was 14 at age 19, and sending and receiving pornographic images with her. He would later be confronted about this on Drama Alert, where he lied to Keemstar's face. Pyrocynical, while never having sent naked images to Ivory, was 19 years old messaging a 15-year-old, page after page of fetish art, and discussing extremely graphic things with a child. This isn't the case of a 2-year age gap. This is a sophomore in college and a sophomore in high school being sexual over DMs. And as I clearly shown here and in my video, he clearly knew Ivory's age, and lied about it after the fact to get out of it. I personally went into this situation under the impression that Ivory had lied. Once analyzing the evidence, there's no other conclusion that can be reached other than Pyrocynical is full of shit, literally and metaphorically. Ivory Rasmus did not lie, and Pyro has no verifiable contradictory evidence. I'll end this document with a statement from Ivory Rasmus's second Twitlonger, and final statement about the subject. He then quotes Ivory saying, "This is a message to people who know Niall, and know for a fact that this is true, but continue to stay silent. What matters to me is that there are multiple accounts of Pyrocynical abusing his power to be sexual with his fans, which include minors. It's not just me who has been affected. This is public knowledge in multiple communities, and has been tolerated and in turn enabled for far too long." And that is about it for Turkey Tom's Google document. If you want to know about this subject more in depth, you can watch Turkey Tom's video that he made, which is mentioned in the Google document. So Pyrocynical yet again responded to all of his recent allegations, this time in a YouTube video rather than just a Reddit post. The main thing he's responding to here is a document made by Turkey Tom, which I read out in a previous video. You can go and watch that if you want the full context. And of course, go watch Pyro's response. Either way, let's get into what people are saying about it on Twitter. Some Ordinary Gamers tweets out, all I got was Pyro is a furry. Pretty cool, I suppose. Anything for Views says, the best thing to take away from all this Pyrocynical stuff is the fact that he's a furry. I'm gonna bully him for it for the rest of his life, lol. Colossal's Crazy responds, every night I call Pyrocynical to remind him he's a fat loser, just in case he forgets it even for a minute. Nerd City responds to Anything for Views by saying, to be honest guys, we did it. We ate 250,000 subscribers. 250,000 pounds and still growing. The fact that we've reached this size in such a short amount of time is just monumental. I'm just amazed. Thank you all so much for feeding my fat sauna and helping it grow. Bill Baines tweets out, I think Pyro's response was pretty good. Very happy he actually took accountability this time and apologized for his actions. Not a fan of that Colossal rating as I felt it was a bit distasteful with a grooming allegation. To each their own, I suppose. 10 to 2 out of 10. Jen Gobel's quote tweets him and says, nah, it was funny as fuck. To which Colossal's Crazy responds, if Pyro was a legit pedo-peter and groomer, then okay. Maybe. Even though I'm just reading this shit in a funny voice. But I truly believe those allegations are complete nonsense anyway. Linead tweets out, I really don't see why people think Pyro's response changes anything, lol. He admitted everything that he was proven guilty of. The rest was always speculation regardless of how much circumstantial evidence there was. Dude's a brain-dead degenerate. Simple as that. YouTube viewers are dumb. Bro, Pyro won, take the L! He admitted he jacks off to furry inflation fart porn, and you think that's a victory? This aged poorly. Have you seen Pyro's new video? You look so dumb now. It's all been debunked. Then he shows a picture of someone guzzling glue. Kink shaming isn't cool, man. Don't make fun of Pyro. Shut the fuck up and let me laugh at the furry. 8 Thoughts responds to Linead by saying, Clown reading that DM of the weird shit Pyro is into is hilarious. What a freak. Fart in my face while I kiss your man boobs? Laughing my fucking ass off. Colossal responds by saying, the real victim in this story, and then posts an image of Dolan Dark's YouTube comment on Pyro's video where he says, the first piece of content Colossal has created in a year, and it's reading out fat furry roleplay. Nicholas Diorio tweets out, when I explain how stupid the general drama audience is, this man's last 2 videos adequately explains my perspective. Showing a video uploaded titled Pyrocynical Framed by the Public, right next to the guy's previous video titled Pyrocynical Guilty Without a Doubt. Slazo tweets out, wait, Pyro's a furry? Never mind, fuck that guy. Repzilla says, I think Pyrocynical put out a good response and took accountability for what he needed to. I think he was irresponsible as he admits, but I don't believe he's a pedophile / groomer. I think everyone who covered the situation should update with the context of his response. Internet Unwind says, Pyro really messed up as a stupid young adult with a lack of understanding of his situation. It's no excuse, and like any young adult drunk driver, he needs to take responsibility. He seemingly did, and he took some steps. Not sure what his path forward would be, but it's a long one. Technical says, Pyro is a furry, and I have the documents to prove it. TwizFizz says, who wants to inhale some fat furry farts? I heard all the cool YouTubers are doing it. John Swan tweets out, everyone's talking about Pyrocynical being guilty or innocent, but I think they are missing the real issue here. What the fuck is this haircut? Man addresses grooming allegations, but can't take the time to groom himself, laughing my ass off. Aiden tweets out, people who decided to not get involved in the Pyro allegations right now, showing a Pepe with a hot chocolate. Cedar says, waiting for Ivory to apologize for calling Pyro a groomer like, showing some pictures of patiently waiting dogs. Habibi tweets out, Pyrocynical response, but what drama channels wanted to hear.
Recently, to those who are unaware, I've been grooming a 15-year-old boy when I was 19. I'm a sexual predator, I took advantage of him, and I knew his age all along. But I could have been doing this with a 90-year-old cave troll and it wouldn't have made a difference. 100% I wanted to have sex with him in person. I have to be the one to do it. He's provided a lot of proof like this to show how much of a degenerate I was, and I mean, I agree, you know. I did fuck, and I am sorry for that. You got me. FBI, open up! I had absolutely no idea that he was 15.
Jay Aubrey tweets out, we should have known, showing a news article that says the name of every celebrity from Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs, and then showing that the flight logs had Pyrocynical on there. iNabber tweets out, so Pyro responded, and it's a bit of a weird one for me. Whilst I don't agree he is a pedophile, I do think it was extremely irresponsible for him to sexually message someone without asking for age, which he admits to. I don't like how the conversations being roleplay was used as an argument, as I believe it is still him having sexual messages with Ivory. way. He should have been checking for age before doing this. The situation is complicated. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, sexting someone below the age of 18, when you are 18 plus, is illegal in UK regardless of age of consent. Hence, he should have been wary about age identification. Overall, I think he's an idiot for not being careful, when he had such a massive platform back then, but at least he admits it. I don't think he's a pedo. Just as he said, a degenerate. I don't know whether Pyro knew Ivory's age, but I'll be real with you and tell you I vaguely knew of Ivory back in 2017, and I knew he was 16 because I remember he dated another commentary community member who was 16, I believe. So it's a weird one, but I guess it's all up for debate. Overall, I'm glad he admitted he was very, very stupid and apologized. There is no excuse for his moronic behavior, but at least he seemed honest about it. Then again, I wouldn't be surprised if another video came out and shit just goes back and forth. But yeah, nice. Final statement is, I still think it's indefensible, hence Pyro apologized for it. Even back in 2017, he was in a position of power, and should have been much, much more responsible. It led him to having sexual conversations with a 15-year-old, and there's no way I will defend that. I don't believe he is a pedo. I just think he is/was a weird degenerate. I don't know if he knew his age, but word of advice for YouTubers, ask for their age. It's not difficult. Just do it. Don't let this Pyrocynical news distract you from the fact that actual pedophiles such as Zoe Laverne, Tony Lopez, Red Kiwis, and Mini Lad still have large social media presences, where they are making millions of dollars a year. Optimus tweets out, "Alright, watching the Pyro response now. Laughing my ass off, people acted like he fucking nuked me. Absolutely pwned. GG, well played, Optimus. He played a 6-second clip and never addressed me directly?" Brit's response to Optimus by showing a tweet from Tydo who said, "Pyro kinda killed your arguments, dude. Like, wow." Brit's comments on this by saying, "Huh? Like, he showed a 5-second clip of you." Optimus quote tweets him and says, "Exactly. People act like I wrote the document or made the allegations. I just talked about what happened and prematurely made my mind up a little bit." Savage Foxman responds to Optimus by saying, "He's in the wrong, but not in the wrong. I mean, it's just fucking weird, but I can't say anything." Optimus quote tweets him and says, "Nah, he's definitely in the wrong. But the situation isn't as bad as it was made out to be. People had it out like he was trying to fuck kids on Discord and shit, when in reality it doesn't seem like that was the case whatsoever." Optimus continues to tweet about this by saying, "I'm not all the way through this apology yet, but so far Pyro has done extremely well in addressing shit head on. I'm genuinely impressed that a YouTuber came out and defended themselves like this." He then tweets out his YouTube video about this, and Larsa replies by saying, "You should make a separate video apologizing to Pyro. Not only did you lie about him, but you distorted the truth to get views. Pyro should sue for defamation, and you should be deplatformed." Optimus quote tweets her and says, "Pyro fans absolutely delusional, laughing my fucking ass off." Augie RFC tweets out, "Augie, take the L." On what? None of my opinions on Pyro changed. I still think he knew the age. Think, not know. And I think he's a degen, but not a pedo. That was my take yesterday, and it's still my take today. Seeing Pyro fans ratio Ivory on Twitter with replies linking to the video where he apologized to him, and then saying, "You got fucking owned, loser." Yeah, Ivory is definitely the one taking the L today. Totally, man. Let's look at it like this. This is not a matter of who took the L and who took the W. This isn't a fucking sports game. This is a real allegation. All that matters is what you think versus what you know. Whose word are you taking? Who did the objectively horrible thing or not? Anyone saying that Turkey Tom slazzoed Pyro has a brain made of liquid. Keemstar tweets out, "Pyrocynical is a pathological liar and manipulator. Like he's literally admitting to having a sexually charged conversation with a minor, and jacking off to said conversation. And at the same time convincing his audience that he is the victim. And it's working. Hashtag poor Pyro." Guys, all Pyrocynical did was sexually roleplay with a 15-year-old boy and jerk off to it. Quit acting like he's some kind of furry pedo. Max responds to him by saying, "Keem, do you really think he's a pedo? Like, honestly?" Keemstar quote tweets him and says, 2016, Pyro was having some type of online relationship with an underage French girl. He denied this, but leaked DMs proved Pyrocynical was talking to her, and said, "Our relationship," in the leaked DMs. 2020, he admits jacking off to sexual convos with a 15-year-old boy. You tell me? Also, I said a million times in 2016 Pyro was a furry. Keemstar is lying, the furry thing is a meme. 2020, Pyro admits he jacks off to furry roleplay with 15-year-olds. Jelani456 responds to Keem by saying, "Where do you get the statement that he jerked off to the conversations?" Keemstar responds, "Pyro said in his apology video that he literally jerked off to it." Jelani responds, "Nah, he said he jerked off to furry porn, not the actual conversations between Ivory, bruh." Jessix quote tweets him and says, "Bro, He literally read out his roleplay with Ivory and said, "You got me. Now the whole world pretty much knows what I jerk off to," referring to the conversation he just read right before making that statement. These fucking idiots will say anything to defend his actions. Augie quote tweets her and says, "If the 'now the whole world knows what I jerk off to' line was just a joke, or referring to something else, it's one of the worst planned jokes I've ever seen in my life." Keemstar responds to Jessix by saying, "YouTube predators with child fans never get held accountable because kids are so easy to manipulate. This is the exact reason Kiwis got away with it. Why people spammed Basher is innocent, but Romeo had adult fans. Cancelled." Jessix responds, "They are literally trying to act like he didn't just admit to all of it, but say, I didn't know his age. That doesn't make him 100% innocent of everything. It just makes him stupid and not a criminal." Going back to the tweet where Keemstar says, "All Pyro did was sexually roleplay with a 15-year-old, he makes another tweet under it that says, "I think it's pretty clear that I'm being sarcastic here. Anyone else defending this fucking weirdo is just as fucked up as he is." Also, the reason why people say, "You didn't watch the video," is because their small brains heard Pyro say, "These allegations are false. This is a lie. These are all false." Then admit it's true, then make excuses, then say it's all false, then say sorry, it's true, then say lies. The entire video is structured to make the predator Pyro come across as a victim, and it worked. So when you watch him admit guilt and you say he's guilty, "Did you even watch the video?" Pyro even tried to compare himself to Kiwis. That's classic manipulation. Hey guys, I know I'm wrong, but at least I'm not as bad as this guy Kiwis. Do not fall for this shit. I heard this story behind the scenes that I'm Alex learned the truth of the underage French girl, and started telling everyone about it. It got back to Pyro. At a gaming convention, Alex went up to Pyro's table, and Pyro's dad yelled at him, "Stay away from my son." I'm curious to know what Alex learned about the French girl, but unfortunately, Alex has no credibility at all with sexual allegations. By the way, I'm not trolling. This is a real story I heard. Speaking of stories, Sive Morton tweets out a story in 3 parts, and then he shows how he ratioed Keem in 2 tweets, and that Keem blocked him as a result of it. Turkey Tom, the guy who made the document against Pyrocynical, has yet to respond to any of this on Twitter or any other platform, and Ivory himself has also said nothing. But I'm sure they will eventually, so if you don't want to miss when that happens, be sure to subscribe with notifications on. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.